Local time, April 3rd. On the Iranian fronts, this round of military action has entered its 35th day in order to quickly reach an agreement favorable to the U.S. U.S. forces did not hesitate to strike Iranian landmarks. According to Iranian state TV reports and video, local time, April 2nd, U.S.-Israeli forces in Meku toward Dekla and the Iranian iconic B-1 bridge on the Karaj Northern Bypass suffered 2 consecutive air strikes. The strikes severely damaged the bridge's main structure, resulting currently in 8 civilian deaths and 95 injuries. It is reported this highway bridge connects the Iranian capital, Tehran, to the core hub of the Karaj transport corridor. It is also the ancient city boundary of Iran, the most complex landmark project, and currently the Middle East's highest bridge, originally scheduled to enter service soon. Additionally, this attack also led to parts of Karaj experiencing power outages. After the incident, U.S. President Trump actually, in his social media, posted a special text to brag about the results and shouted to Iran across the void, saying, "Your largest bridge has collapsed in ruins. It can never be used again. More disasters are coming. Iran must reach a deal quickly, or it will be too late." It must be said here, as a national president personally coming down to brag about robbing another nation's civilian infrastructure and using it to coerce diplomacy. In modern history, there is almost no precedent. Of course, this reflects from another side that Trump is indeed desperate for reaching an agreement with Iran quickly, a decent agreement favorable to the US, so that he can make a smooth exit. Even the famous American political magazine today put on a new cover. In the image, Trump is staring with a deep frown at a map of Iran. Large text at the top. Where is the way out? The subtitle below reads, "Trump is seeking an exit from the Iran war," satirizing Trump for seeking a shortcut to end the war, while still wanting to declare victory. At the same time, something even more frustrating for him. According to reports from Politico, the Austrian Ministry of Defense announced on April 2nd, the country has rejected multiple requests from the U.S., reaffirming it won't allow the U.S. to use Austrian airspace for military operations against Iran. Austrian Vice Chancellor Babler, late that night, confirmed it on his social media afterward, saying Austria is unwilling to be involved with Trump's chaotic policies and wars in any way, lest it brings the next energy crisis to them. It is reported this is since Spain announced at the end of last month for aircraft participating in Iranian military operations after closing its airspace, the second EU country to officially announce such measures. And that's not all. According to Reuters reports, the EU announced on April 1st to Cuba released 2 million euros in humanitarian aid used to ensure the Cuban people's basic logistics after the Trump administration's increased blockade. Logistical support, objectively speaking. Although this amount of money is not much, it is the EU, rarely, publicly opposing the US blockade policy on Cuba. Speaking of this, surely all commanders have also noticed recently, while US-Israeli military actions against Iran lead to the long-term inability to unblock the Strait of Hormuz, Europe's own energy and economic interests suffer a significant impact. The strategic differences and trust gaps between US and Europe are continuously expanding, drifting further apart. This is also why the French president Macron would choose during this period to visit Japan and South Korea. One of the core purposes is seeing the US deeply mired in the Middle East. The Strait of Hormuz paralyzed the window of damaged European interests to court Japan and Korea, trying to boost the political influence of France and himself. All right. Next, we start with the US-Israel camp, briefly detailing the latest dynamics of both sides. First, according to the Israeli IDF, latest statement and released strike footage. The Israeli Air Force announced over the past 24 hours, which is during the Israeli Passover holiday, conducted strikes in Iran on over 50 ballistic missile launch positions, dropping over 140 munitions. At the same time, according to Al Jazeera reports and on-site footage, on April 2nd, located in Iran, the area around Mashhad International Airport in the northeast also suffered a US-Israeli strike. A fuel depot was hit, igniting a massive fire, per the Iranian Fars news agency. The IRGC ground forces, commando units and special forces commander, General Mohammad Alizadeh, was also killed in an Israeli airstrike that day, while the US Central Command, also on the night of April 2nd, released the latest strike footage. The video shows the U.S. Air Force continuing against multiple Iranian drones and missile launchers with a new round of airstrikes. Then in Lebanon, on the same day, the Israeli Defense Forces also announced, over the past 24 hours, against Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, dozens of command centers, weapon depots, launch sites, and anti-ballistic missile launch positions, etc. Launched combined land, sea, and airstrikes, and claim caused more than 40 Hezbollah members to be killed. On the other side, in order to respond to the strikes on Iranian civilian and industrial infrastructure, the IRGC, over the past 24 hours, continued to carry out the 90th and 91st waves of the Honest Promise military action, all in coordination with the Houthi forces in Yemen, using long-range, liquid and solid fuel varieties of ultra, heavy ballistic missiles, respectively against central and southern Israeli military deployment centers, military industrial enterprises and support equipment, as well as the U.S. base near Al-Tanf, plus steel and metal industrial facilities in the Persian Gulf, related to the United States, etc., launched a coordinated missile strike. The statement also specifically emphasized this operation caused dozens of U.S. personnel casualties, among them the IRGC, before launching the 90th wave of strikes. Also specifically on the missiles to be launched, pasted a composite photo of Trump with Netanyahu and Epstein sitting on a bed, holding hands in a composite photo with the caption, "Hey, stupid Trump, the Strait of Hormuz is much bigger than your mouth. Your own straits have also fallen into the hands of Epstein and Little Bibi," which is Netanyahu. Quite a sarcastic romance. Next, we followed the perspective of the missile. First, focus on Israel. According to the Times of Israel and other reports and surveillance footage, on the night of April 2nd local time, because an Iranian missile broke through the air defense system, directly hitting the Tel Aviv metropolitan area, in an Israeli central settlement, Petah Tikva, the report pointed out, the missile hit a buffer zone within the settlement between a residential and industrial area, forming a massive crater. At the same time, the shockwave from the missile impact damaged a mobile building in the industrial area. According to multiple open-source intelligence accounts, the mobile building damaged this time is a private aerospace manufacturing company called EROSO, Tactical Drone Manufacturing Factory. However, the news structure before this, the Israeli side has not yet confirmed. At the same time, relevant departments stated this attack caused no casualties. Let him in. Furthermore, it is worth mentioning, according to Israel Khan, news reports and released on-site footage showing in the northernmost Kiryat Shmona, a McDonald's restaurant in the settlement was suspected of being affected by a fire that day, causing a certain degree of damage to its interior. Interestingly, RT Russia subsequently cited the video, joking, "The propaganda effect of this video for US recruitment might be better than any advertisement from the Pentagon." Then we look back at Lebanon. Lebanon's Hezbollah, on the night of April 2nd, again released a combat video recording the organization's subordinate armed forces on March 26 near the southern Lebanese town of Qatada, using an FPV drone against an IDF Namer infantry fighting vehicle in an attack, and successfully hit the target. Commanders can watch it if they wish. Then in Jordan, according to Iranian state media footage released on the night of April 2nd, recently an Iranian missile also hit a US base in Jordan. However, before the news report, temporarily no damage status from inside. The base has leaked out. Then in Syria, according to the latest satellite comparison, images released by Iran Today, located in Al-Hasaka in northernmost Syria, a US base's officer residential area was also hit by the Iranian-backed resistance, severely damaged. Then in neighboring Iraq, the Islamic resistance in Iraq Today also released its latest combat video showing its subordinate unit, Awliya ad-Dam, against the U.S. Victory Base near the capital, Baghdad, a fuel storage tank drone attack. According to Admayadin reports, this fuel was used to power generators in the U.S. base. Then we look back at Iran. The Iranian Public Relations Department, on the night of April 2nd, released a video announcing Iranian defense forces in the Strait of Hormuz, near Iran's largest island, the south of Qeshm Island, hit a U.S. fighter jet and said the jet subsequently fell into Persian Gulf waters. Immediately after, the U.S. Central Command issued a statement on the night of the 2nd, denying this. To be honest, everyone looking at this released video, this U.S. jet looks more like it's releasing flares rather than thick smoke from being hit. It can be seen, this single-engine jet, after firing a round of flares at the start of the video, increased engine thrust and performed major maneuvers, trying to evade incoming missiles, and at the end of the video, released flares again, thereby breaking the radar lock. However, it can be basically confirmed that Iran on April 2nd, again, shot down 2 US MQ-9 Reaper drones and an Israeli Hermes 900 drone. Then we turn to the other side of the ocean, at the US Strait. US President Trump, on July 2nd US time, posted on social media announcing Pam Bondi will no longer serve as Attorney General and will transition to private sector work. Thus, Bondi becomes a second cabinet member dismissed by Trump during his second presidential term, according to the Mainstream Corporation. NBC News and others reported. Trump's dissatisfaction with Bondi has lasted for months, including believing she handled the Epstein files inadequately regarding striking Trump's political opponents, not being tough enough, etc. Andy was caught in a tight corner with MAGA Epstein survivors and bipartisan lawmakers demanding more Epstein disclosures. The president blasted the Epstein attention as distraction, all while Mr. Trump expected her to prosecute his perceived adversaries. And we're looking at Pam because I hope something's going to be done about it. These people put our country at great danger. The president posted his complaints to Pam writing, "All talk, no action. Nothing is being done."